Hello, we are back live at the Launchpad at AWS reInvent 2019. I'm Steve, a technical evangelist at AWS. I'm joined by some special guests from the Serverless team and my co-host, Steve, fellow Brit. So before we get started, would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is George Mao, and I'm a principal serverless specialist, and I help customers work on the serverless platform.
Hey folks, my name is Sushant Bhatia. I'm a principal product manager on the AWS Lambda team.
Cool, I'm Steve Bryan. I'm a technical evangelist based out of the UK, focusing on general developer technologies, but super excited to be talking about serverless today, which is one of my favorite topics.
All right, so it has been a really, really busy year in the serverless world, a whole load of enhancements, the run up to reInvent, and at reInvent itself. So we're going to go through as many as we can in 20 minutes. I want to start though with one that was literally launched an hour ago, HTTP APIs. Can you dig into that? What's that all about?
Yeah, HTTP APIs is something we're super excited about. It's our newest flavor of API gateway, and it allows you to create really low latency and really cost-effective REST APIs. So for most customers, you're going to see up to a 70% reduction in cost. You're also going to see much faster performance across all of your APIs. So we'll flip to my computer screen. I'll give you a really quick demo of the console experience and how you can build a HTTP API. So this is the new API Gateway console. On the top, you'll see a new environment here called HTTP APIs, and it's currently in beta, so please give it a shot and give us your feedback. So to use this new API type, all you have to do is click the build button, give it an API name, so we'll do my test API, add an integration, and for now we support Lambda and HTTP integrations. So we'll click Lambda, select a region, and for this demo we'll be using US West 2 since we're over here on the West Coast. And I will select a Lambda function. So for my function, I'm choosing my function to be my HTTP proxy. I'll click next. And then over here is where we're going to configure some routes. And notice this is going to be a really easy experience. So I just have to click next. And the new HTTP APIs by default have a default stage, which makes it really easy for you to deploy and auto-deploy all of your features immediately as you make changes to your APIs. So I just click next here, and on the last screen, we're going to review and create our APIs. It's going to give us all the information that we just looked at, and I just have to confirm, click create, and at this point, we basically have a live API that's operational and ready to be consumed by customers. And we're also going to be given our invoke URL right here.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's nice and simple. Cool.
So compared to the previous API gateway, this is a kind of new flavor of API gateway, but just for these lightweight APIs, the previous version still exists. Customers can still use service proxy and things that they were used to using before. This is just an additional lightweight API that makes it super easy to get started.
Right, so the really cool part about this is that our original version, our REST APIs, did a lot of stuff. It did validations, authentication, authorization, transformations, and the pricing model for this is changing a little bit, right? So we talked about this APIs dropping price for most customers by about 70%. Yeah, so originally you're going to be paying $3.50 per million requests. Now you're going to be paying $1 per million requests. So it's really going to be cost effective, really performant, and we're really excited to see customers take advantage of this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. It's great to be able to talk about something that was launched an hour ago. I mean, that's just awesome. That's just awesome.
Yeah, we nearly made a launch on the Launchpad, but we missed it by an hour.
Yeah. All right, let's roll back a little bit further then. Provision concurrency.
So
what's that?
Provision concurrency is something that we released yesterday. It is something that we hope will solve a lot of the things that customers tell us about, which is cold starts. We think that customers will be able to call an API and provision an amount of concurrency for Lambda. They tell us how much to provision, we go provision that, and then when they're done with it, they can tell us that they no longer want it, and it goes away. The benefit here is that it is useful for things like spikes in traffic that they want to have, or any predictable traffic that they have that they know that they need to manage capacity for. As part of doing this, there is a third dimension of cost that comes into it. So today customers pay for invokes and duration. Yep. In order to keep the capacity warm, there is a third dimension, which is the provision concurrency dimension. And so as long as the capacity is up and running and warm for the customers, that charge, they will pay for that.
Okay.
And the last benefit here is obviously, not only is that capacity warm and reserved for that particular customer, that capacity is constantly respecting the limits of the time frames that we have in our system in terms of security and scalability as well.
Okay.
How does that work when I set that level of provision concurrency that I need? Let's say I don't need that all the time. Does this integrate with like auto scaling? Can I use a metric to scale this as I need to?
Yeah, that's a great point, yes. So we do integrate with AWS in the auto scaling, so customers can set rules about how their provision concurrency should scale automatically based on those rules, and we will then respect that as needed.
Got it, that's great. Yeah, this is really going to solve a lot of problems for people that just can't have that cold start,
Yeah, our hope is obviously that once the customers start to use it and put it in its spaces, cold start will no longer be a problem for them. Now, part of also, another part of this, if customers want to look at it, is they had a 10-second cold start penalty for using Lambdas with VPCs. That is also gone, it's gone away.
Okay.
So the cold start is now something that is dead and done.
So cold starts are a thing of the past. That's
right.
it. We're done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I can't remember when this was announced, but maybe a little bit further back in time. I understand there's a feature called RDS proxy. Sits between you and your database. So let's dig into that. What does that give me as a customer?
So RDS proxy is something that we launched yesterday, and it's something we're super excited about. So Lambda functions allow you to scale to tens and thousands of concurrent requests. And as all of your requests make database connections to relational databases, that consumes memory and CPU power, and your databases have to be able to manage all these connections. And it takes power away from being able to execute your queries. So we built this service, it's an RDS service, and it allows Lambda functions to connect directly to this proxy. And this proxy will manage all of the hard details about connection pooling, scaling, and everything needed to make your Lambda functions and applications highly resilient and highly available. So check out the blog post, but basically all you have to do is make one single change. You're going to change the endpoint from which your code connects to talk to the proxy instead of talking directly to your database. That's all you have to do. You don't have to install any APIs, no SDKs out of the box, and no code changes other than that. So super excited about this.
Oh, cool. So one of the things I hear about when I go out to like meetups and I'm talking to people about .NET, especially they want to connect their SQL Server in RDS from a Lambda function.
Yeah.
That, in conjunction with the VPC improvements, this should really make this super easy now, right? Super fast.
Absolutely, yeah. So now we have VPC cold starts that are just milliseconds. You can talk directly to a relational database. Everything is super fast, scalable, highly resilient.
Right. You guys have been so hard at work. It's awesome. It's awesome. All right, one more in the major launches then this year, we think. Express workflows. This one popped up on my radar, I think late yesterday, so I haven't even read it myself yet. So I know it's something to do with step functions, so okay, go.
So a lot of customers have a lot of transitions, and as they scale up, they find that step functions, in terms of its pricing, can become a little bit more expensive than what they're expecting. So the step functions team did an awesome job in what is now cheaper, faster step functions. The ability now to have step functions scale to 100,000 transitions or more is something that the team can do. There's a default, obviously, that you start with, but the team will increase it beyond that. And obviously, the cost is also a lot cheaper as well.
So how do I, as a dev or as a customer, how do I turn that on? Is it like a console feature, or is it like a slightly side thing to step functions? You see what I mean?
Yeah, so do you want to...
Yeah, so we're showing this right here on the screen, but this is our launch blog post.
Okay.
Essentially, it's just another flavor of step functions.
Oh, okay.
Right? And the original flavor of step functions was highly resilient. It would have a lot of retries built in, and you're built on the number of state transitions. Right? With this workflow, with Express workflows, the idea is to run as fast as possible without retries and run it as cheaply as possible. So you're no longer built on state transitions. For now, you're just simply built on number of executions combined with how long your state machine ran for.
Okay.
So it's going to be really cost effective for those workloads that don't need retry built in.
Okay.
Right? And just want to run as fast as possible.
Just get it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those workflows, those steps functions, the state machines, they still support all the same, elements and targets that
absolutely.
steps functions.
Yeah, so we support everything the original step functions supported. It's just going to be a faster, no retry, cheap, and really cost effective.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is really great for those kind of large scale fan out, batch
Absolutely.
type workloads.
That's right.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to, I know you guys have also been focused on the developer experience.
That's right,
last year, so let's touch on some of the aspects there.
Yeah.
What's your particular favorite to start with?
I think my favorite upgrade in the developer experience is something called Lambda Destinations. So now when you execute a Lambda function, you can configure this to automatically route the result of a Lambda function execution and send it to another destination. And it could be SNS, SQS, another Lambda function, or any one of these, right? And what you can really do is have the result of a function go somewhere else and perform another action, right? You could do some logging, modify some security, update some other activities as well. So it's really easy to use. It's all right here in the console. So I'll jump through this really quickly right in the console experience and show you exactly where it's located. So all you have to do is go to your Lambda function, and this is the same function we looked at earlier when I was configuring my HTTP APIs. Right, so right here on the right here, under my designer pane, there's going to be an add destination button here. Right, so you just click add destination, and then from here, you can specify the SQS queue, the SNS resource topic, a Lambda function, or any event bridge bus to deliver the results of this Lambda function to. And this really makes it great for developers now. Instead of linking function to function, this comes right out of the box, supported natively by AWS.
So that's how I look at this is, instead of writing code now to chain those Lambdas together, I can just wire it up in the configuration.
Absolutely, right here in the console.
And there's a trigger there, there's a flag there, right, on the success and failure. I think that's quite important.
That's right, So you can even set the condition. So you can say, on a failure, target an SNS topic, or on a success, target a Lambda function. It's really simple to do.
And when you think about the use cases this enables, it becomes pretty powerful, And even thinking about, the right performance tuning your Lambdas, so you have the right, memory size per Lambda. Instead of trying to do everything in one Lambda or having to wait in your function, you can just get what you need done and asynchronously trigger this other function on complete that maybe has less memory. So from a cost perspective, you can start to optimize performance and cost through your whole end-to-end workflow. This is great.
It also feels to me like, if I want to chain these workflows together, but I don't want to go as far as step functions, I now have a nice little way of getting started, and as my needs grow, then maybe I could move to step functions.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right.
You mentioned EventBridge there as a target. EventBridge was quite a big announcement earlier this year. We had some additional announcements for EventBridge as well, right? Just last week as a kind of pre-event announcement, Schema Registry. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so Schema Registry allows events to be strongly typed in a sense. Previously, customers would have to understand and go look at the JSON payload and understand what that schema is and kind of codify to that. Now, with the Schema Registry, they could have contracts that basically say, here's what we're expecting, here's what we want to use, and then go from there. Cool. So it makes it more strongly typed. It's a lot easier to then use in your code and go from there.
This kind of fits into that developer experience category again.
Yes.
And what if I send an event that doesn't match a schema?
If you send an event,
if I send an event to like the event bus and it's not a recognized schema,
So there's a couple options. You have to configure.
There's a discovery feature, is that right?
Yeah, there's a discovery feature, and you can have it auto-discover new schemas. You can also configure it to just fail. So it's completely up to you as an event creator to do that.
Right, got it. So you do that at the raw level?
That's right.
Right, got it.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great.
So it sounds like we have some new runtimes as well.
Oh, yeah. So before, just a couple weeks ago, we enabled multiple different runtimes. So if you click this drop-down, we can see that we now support some of the newest flavors of a lot of these programming languages. So we have Node.js 12, we have Java 11, and then we have Python 3.8 and Ruby 2.5. So developers can now really take advantage of some of these most up-to-date programming languages.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That's great.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's good to see new runtime. Something we always get a lot of questions from our customers about. So it's great. Small but big, big kind of incremental change. We made another announcement which I think has been pretty popular as well. We now support FIFO queues for SQS as an event source.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty, again, from enabling Lambda to support other workloads that maybe before weren't, weren't supported, and I think that's quite been welcomed by. Is there anything specific you want to share about that?
Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. So we've always supported, for a long time now, SQS as an event source for Lambda. And it's actually one of our most popular event sources. It's one of our largest growing, fastest growing event sources. But now you can target and use a FIFO SQS resource and invoke Lambda Functions. And for those customers who are building applications that really need to have in-order delivery of messages, this is when it really becomes awesome for developers. You no longer have to build anything that polls SQS queues. You can just let AWS handle all of that on your behalf. All the scaling, all the resiliency comes right out of the box.
Got it.
Right?
Cool. More triggers.
All right.
There's a few kind of indirect service announcements that kind of impacting the serverless landscape as well.
Yeah.
That I kind of picked up on. I think there was like a CloudWatch service lens. I think Steve, you've done a bit of
I actually wrote the news blog post of that. So, and in fact, the example in that was using some Lambda functions. So it was drilling into an alert and then trying to figure out where the actual Lambda had failed or was failing. And it looked pretty cool. I mean, it was normally when we are diagnosing failures in serverless, we're used to using when we have infrastructure, we just remote into a machine, we look, but when serverless, we don't have that capability, right? So for a little while, we've been like scratching around, looking at logs, looking at graphs. Service Lens brings everything into one place, so I could just drill down from my alert straight the way through. And it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, giving us that kind of observability.
The observability, trying to fix the observability issue,
yeah, that we need.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Cool.
Let's see, what else have we got here? So actually, I want to go spin back to the VPC improvements. So I know that when when you guys, not me, when you guys announced this, it was in a set number of regions and it's being rolled out. So how's that progress going?
Yeah, it's gone out to all major regions. It's not yet in things like the GovCloud is yet, but everywhere else it's at 100%.
Okay. You guys are moving fast.
Yeah, I mean, just maybe worth kind of recapping on what improvements we made to VPC. There was this ENI limitation before.
Yes.
Can we just give the viewers a bit of an update on what that change was and what difference that made?
Yeah. So previously, what would happen is that the ENIs that were used in a VPC to connect with the VPC were created at the data plane time. And so what that would do is that the ENI data would be created and it would take 10 seconds to get created, which is why customers saw that cold start. Now what we've done is that we shifted that ENI creation over to the control plane. And the added benefit of that is that the number of IP addresses that need to be used as well reduces. So customers no longer need to buy as many IP addresses to be able to use. We just re-provision and reuse them as well.
Yeah. Got it. That's great. Yeah, I think
we've actually got a screenshot on here. Yeah. We can just switch briefly. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah. Do you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, so this is an example of kind of how it'll work. Customers who VPC enable a Lambda function will get those ENIs that sit inside your subnets. And now you're just going to get a single ENI per security group and subnet combination. It's really going to reduce the amount of IP space consumption and really increase the sort of reduce all the latency around a cold start.
Yeah,
right?
I think this is another thing. You mentioned earlier the VPC things in comparison with those customers that want to access their enterprise databases on RDS over their private network.
Yeah.
It's going to save a lot of complexity from a developer and an operations experience as well. So we're running out. We have about 1 minute left before we need to kind of wrap up here. But if there was, is there somewhere? I know we've mentioned a lot of stuff, lots of different announcements. We shared some blogs. I know they've been the team over there have been sharing them in the chat. But is there any specific place we could point people to, or a final kind of call to action that people should look at if they want to learn more?
Yeah, I mean, I'd highly recommend following our compute blog. It has all of the updates that we talked about here. Jump into the console. Check out some of our preview experiences. I do want to highlight one thing here. We also launched a brand new Architecting on Serverless training course. So this is a digital e-learning course that the training and certification team worked really hard on. And it's a really interactive course. It uses our newest technology for training. And it has some really great tips and tutorials in here.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we are about out of time.
Great.
I'd like to thank you both for coming along. That was just awesome.
Thank
you guys are working really hard. Thank you so much. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.